Now look, I know what it's like to have a video game that you bleed over and sweat over. God, how many years did I give up for Drawn to Death? Even before we made it, building the team, designing, finding the money. And then to put it out there and to see it not work, it'll break you down. It'll break your heart. Back 4 Blood is not in any position to be looked at like Drawn to Death. Why am I wearing these? It's doing pretty well, but the numbers have started to fall. And this week alone, Back 4 Blood is making less concurrent users. They got less concurrent users playing Back 4 Blood than even the old 15-year-old, whatever it is, Left 4 Dead, made by the same team that makes Back 4 Blood. And the team, understandably, are trying to figure out, how do we fix it? And that's the worst position to be in. When you have a game that you love and you put it out, and Back 4 Blood's good. I mean, it's well made. The monster design is cool. There's some cool scenarios. There's a lot of ambition in it. They clearly have a long-term plan for this thing. It's a good game. But you look at it and you're like, why are we losing users? Why is it not connecting to the level we wanted it to? And so they came out today with this article. They didn't write the article, you old knuckleheads. They are not journalists. They make the video games. But a journalist comes out and says, hey, I'm reporting on this. This is the article that they says, hey, we think the game's too hard. And you can read it. I'll put a link below. They go into all the things about, hey, it's the trauma damage that stays with you through multiple missions, and it's harder to heal. It's the way the hordes are spawned, blah, 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 blah. All these things may be true, but I'm here to tell you there are 2 things about this game that are the real problem with Back 4 Blood. And I don't know how fixable they are, but they're tinkering with stuff. I mean, let's put it this way. There's a lot of games that are hard, but they're still beloved. Back 4 Blood is not losing players because it's hard. Here's 2 reasons it's losing players. The first reason is it's on Game Pass, which means if you're playing on PC or you're playing on Xbox, it's basically free for you, which would be great usually. I'm a big fan of Game Pass. However, in the case of this is what we're starting to see. I call it the Game Pass effect. This is probably going to be the first example of it, okay? Which is basically whenever you pay for something, a movie ticket, music, whatever, if you pay $7 to download a movie, to rent it, buying a game, of course, your purchase commits you to some extent. I don't know what the psychological term is, but you feel involved, engaged, you're bought in, and you're invested in it being good. And so you're willing to put up with things, right? You're willing to sort of feel uncomfortable and overwhelmed by a lot of sort of decisions that aren't necessarily the best decisions, but you're a captive audience to some degree, right? Well, this being on Game Pass, they didn't buy it, and it's overwhelming. Let me look at this. Ready? Watch this. And now, oh baby, look at the edit. Look at the edit, baby. Yes, Jeffy, it's cutting. Listen to me. This is what you see. This is not after a cool, exciting prologue that gets you into the game. This is what you see right out the goddamn gate. I played the beta. This was here. I've played this 3 or 4 times online with members of the stream. This was here. This is your first taste of Back 4 Blood, and it is overwhelming. It is. It doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. It takes a while to understand not just the best card layout, but what the fucking card system is, and all the differences of the characters, and where to go to get your weapons, and where to go to start your mission, and is there a single player? How do I just jump in and play, and how do I bring my friends in? I mean, there's just a lot of stuff, and none of it is like hard. It's just they throw you at this section of the game where all this stuff comes at you, and it's like, hey, here you go. I think it's easy for people to walk away. I mean, this, like I said, this is my 4th, 5th time playing it, and I still don't know exactly how a lot of this stuff works, okay? Well, I don't feel vested because I didn't pay anything for it, so I don't feel the need to figure it out. I don't feel the need to work real hard to find a couple more friends over the week and say, hey, I know we didn't love it last time, let's try Back for Blood again because we all paid for it. It's like, we've moved on. Let's play Forza, let's play Mario Party, whatever. So part of it is sort of the Game Pass effect on design, which is games are going to have to start, at least if they think they're going to end up on a subscription service, and they care about doing well on that subscription service, they're going to have to start being much more in servitude of the player in that opening 10, 20, 40 minutes. Onboarding becomes so much more important with a subscription service. But I'm going to tell you the most important thing, because you could forgive what Turtle Rock, the developers, say, oh, it's too hard. You could even forgive this overwhelming nonsense of this section if once you got into the game, it felt sublime. You were like, fuck, this is confusing and it's weird and overwhelming, but my God, it feels so good. But the shooting doesn't feel good in this game. The weapons look good, the blood effects look good, the monsters are cool. I don't know at this point. And look, the shooting didn't feel good in Drawn to Death either. We spent a lot of time. And looking back, what we should have done is we should have brought in either as a consultant or a full-time employee, an expert who made shooters and go, look, help us understand what we're missing here. Because you're building, if you make a shooter today, especially a first-person shooter, you are building off literally decades of experience of building these things for players and what they expect and how it works, especially with controller. Well, in this game, it's just... The weapons don't feel impactful. I don't know if it's a sound effect, if it's an animation, if it's an effects issue. I don't know what it is, but when you shoot things, if you're watching this, it looks good, but it doesn't feel good. It doesn't have that sense of, oh my God, that felt good. I just want to, if nothing else, the loop of this is just shoot and feel good hitting things, right? That's a big problem in a game that's a shooter. When you couple that with what you're seeing here, which is just the scenario design. Now, there's some cool scenario design in this game, but in terms of the enemy placement and enemy spawning logic, it's not even that it's too hard. It's that it's just chaos. And, too hard is one thing. Like, I'm not very good at Demon Souls or Bloodborne or anything like that, but I recognize when I die in that game, it's my fault. In this game, you are surrounded often just by this horde, and it's not like a horde of 8 or 12 that you can at least get your head around and go, okay, don't forget there's a guy coming up on my 6. Don't forget there's 3 guys over there. Okay, Fred, my buddy in real life, you take care of that guy. This just feels more like you have been thrown into, like Chuck E. Cheese, where you go into the thing with the wind and all the tickets flying. I don't know why that comes to mind, but it feels like you're just thrown into this whirlwind of chaos and things are attacking from all directions. The shooting doesn't feel good. It's hard to tell who your friends are and who the enemies are visually. It's just noise. When you die usually in a game and you fail, a good game makes you want to jump right back in because you're like, I think I know why I failed. That was my fault. This... You're just like, I guess I stood in the wrong place for too long and didn't think to constantly be looking around 360 degrees because you're constantly surrounded. The game is a very high quality game. It is very well made. There's a lot of imagination. There's a lot to be said in a positive way about this game. I like this game, but after 4 or 5 times, I'm done. And I wanted to make this video because reading that article, I want to see this game succeed. I want to care about future content. I want to finish the goddamn thing. But I want that, and I don't want that right now. And so I hope that they know that, in my opinion anyway, it's more than just the game is too hard. There are some fundamentals that hopefully they'll have the time and resources to work on, and Back for Blood can actually be saved from, bleeding out.